So today we'll be taking a look at some comments from the Undertaker, Roman Reigns updates, and the latest on AJ Lee getting back in the ring. Let's start things off with the Undertaker. The Undertaker has been making some media runs to promote the new Netflix interactive film, Escape the Undertaker. The story follows the New Day as they arrive at the Undertaker's home for the sole purpose of taking his urn, so they can combine it with their power of positivity. The viewer gets to decide the fate of the New Day by making decisions for them, and we even get a look at the Undertaker's home that's full of WWE-related Easter eggs. Taker recently spoke with ET Online to discuss the project and other topics such as his wrestling future. He had this to say: "As of this moment, yeah, my days in the ring are done. And it's not because I don't want to be in the ring. I mean, that is where I've spent most of my adult life. My whole life, really. More than half of my life has been spent in the wrestling or sports entertainment ring. So, in my mind, I still can see everything, and in my heart, I want to be out there, but it's just at a point where my body can't deliver what my mind and my heart see. My body can't deliver that, and I just don't want to cheapen the legacy of the character, and I'd hate for people to pay money to see me work and be disappointed." So that was a very insightful response by The Undertaker. He told us exactly what's going on in his head. He admits that in his heart and in his mind, he wants to be out there. He wants to wrestle and compete. It's been his entire career for the past 30 years, but he knows it's his body that can no longer keep up with what his heart wants. And it's the same way in sports as well. It's hard for a player to walk away from a game that they've been playing their whole lives. But it comes to a point where the body just starts to fail, and they don't really have any other options but to step away. So that seems to be the Undertaker's mindset. He feels like he walked away at the perfect time, right before the body breakdown would have happened. Like he said, he doesn't want to tarnish the character's image by going out there and looking like a shell of his former self. So that's what keeps him retired and accepting of that retirement. His legacy is intact. He walked away on a very unique cinematic match and had a perfect send-off. But telling by his comments, if his body would allow, he would have definitely still been out there competing. ET Online also asked The Undertaker that popular question that gets asked to all wrestling parents, and that's a question of, will your children wrestle one day? Undertaker had this to say in response to that question about his younger daughter joining WWE. "I tell you what, I don't know. I mean, if it's in her heart and that's what she really truly wants to do one day, I'll do my best to coach her up. And obviously her mom will too, but yeah, we'll see what happens. We have a long way to go before actually worrying about that." The Undertaker's daughter would instantly have two of the best coaches on her side. Her father is The Undertaker and her mother is Michelle McCool, so that's instantly gonna put her in a great spot. The Undertaker and Michelle's daughter is already a big wrestling fan. They even posted pictures of her meeting Alexa Bliss a few months back as well. So there's going to be a lot of next generation wrestling talent to look forward to in the next decade or so. We know Brody Lee Jr. is coming, maybe Undertaker's daughter, and more. So the next generation of wrestling already seems to be in great hands. AJ Mendez made headlines earlier this week when it was announced that she signed with WOW Wrestling. AJ announced that she will be a producer and commentator, but of course the biggest question on everyone's mind is her in-ring status. Is there any chance of that happening in the future? Well, AJ sat down for an interview with Izzy recently and had this to say about returning to the ring. "I will say, I say the same thing in every interview, and it's always never say never, but don't hold your breath. What I mean by that is, I never say never to anything, physically, mentally, emotionally. I'm healed for everything I've gone through in wrestling. I could technically do it, but I'm so enjoying letting the next generation have their spotlight. I got to do everything I wanted to do. So it really would have to be, is that a challenge there? I don't think the girls need me there. I think that they are going to take over the world all by themselves. So it's a similar answer to the question she gave in 2019, but this one does seem to be a bit more promising. She's saying that she's healed from everything and could technically do it, but that she wants the spotlight to stay on the next generation and doesn't want to get in the way of that. Which is respectable, totally makes sense, but an AJ match could still benefit the next generation. Maybe she steps foot in the ring with one of the youngest talents and she can instantly put them on the map. If AJ wrestles, a lot of people will be tuning in for that. It will be the perfect opportunity and platform to elevate one of those next generation superstars that she's referring to as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. AJ seems like she could return to the ring if she wants to. She just doesn't see no purpose in the ring right now and feels like it'll be a distraction to the younger women in WoW. So we'll have to see if there's a story there that eventually comes up that makes AJ lace back up her boots. So let's get into the latest for Roman Reigns vs. Brock Lesnar's story. This week's segment featured a segment with the Bloodline speaking in the ring. Roman Reigns finally addressed the situation of Heyman helping Brock Lesnar during the WWE draft and questioned him about where he stands. Heyman talked about how much of a difficult situation he's in, and no matter what he says, it'll sound like he's trying to spin things. Heyman says that he stands with Roman Reigns. Heyman tells Roman that he's known his family for over 40 years and has always been loyal. He talks about how he's been accused of many things in his lifetime that he's guilty of, but that he's never been accused of being stupid. Heyman goes on to discuss how pulling the trigger on a scheme like this with Brock Lesnar to dethrone Roman Reigns would classify as being stupid. Heyman talks about how Roman will conquer Brock, but Roman interrupts him and tells him to look into the camera and say it directly to Brock. Heyman continues his amazing promo directly to the camera and says that Roman will conquer Brock, and that it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. Heyman drops the mic, kneels in front of Roman, and that's how the segment ends. So just another amazing segment from this story to further the hype for Crown Jewel's main event. No negatives to point out here at all. It was a perfect segment to keep this story going, and keep the suspicion of Paul Heyman going as well. This is the third or fourth time that Roman has questioned Heyman's loyalty, and Heyman always says that he stands with Roman. But despite Heyman saying that, he stands with Roman time and time again. You can't help but to still feel a little uneasy and suspicious of Paul Heyman. No matter how many times Heyman pledges his loyalty to Roman, he's basically never going to be in the clear. Like Heyman said, he's not stupid. If he is planning anything with Brock, of course, he's going to have to fake it until the time is right. But how can Heyman actually clear himself and prove it? If Heyman gets involved in the Crown Jewel finish, low blows, Lesnar, or anything like that, that may finally clear Heyman of all suspicions. But until something major like that happens, it's hard to trust Paul Heyman's word. We'll see what happens here with this story at Crown Jewel. Reports claim that WWE wants to stretch Roman vs. Brock beyond Crown Jewel. So, something has to happen there that will leave this story open for another matchup. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.